This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012. We're all the way up in Seattle at PAX 2011, and here's our reaction to all the cool stuff we saw.
Hey, we're here at the Penny Arcade Expo 2011. There is chaos and disorder happening all around us. Hopefully you've been watching our mini episodes that we've been doing from the show floor all last weekend. If you haven't seen those, please check out the Totally Rad Show YouTube channel.
Yep.
I hope they will also be in the iTunes feed, but we're not sure of that at the moment. But we do know they're in the YouTube channel, so check those out because we've been featuring a lot of huge
cool
games.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But we're gonna start our wrap-up of our experience at PAX, talking about some smaller stuff, because that's the stuff we saw today.
Correct.
Including some games from the PAX 10. PAX 10, of course, is the showcase that they do every year here at PAX of some smaller independent titles. We were all taken with Word Fighter
Oh, dude,
on the
Word
iPad.
Fighter. It's basically Words with Friends with kicking people in the crotch. I mean,
it's
so
Boggle.
much fun.
It's Boggle done
Fighter.
as Puzzle Fighter.
Yeah, and it really is. And that, you know, just doing Boggle, because I'm not a big word game guy.
Yeah.
Man, it is so satisfying to come up with a word and send it. And then also they have a lot of each of your characters, which are all based on actual authors. The art style is amazing.
Yeah.
And so you play as Edgar Allan Poe or Jane Austen and things like that. And each of them have their own powers, and you can power up these abilities
So
to then
smart.
give yourself, you know, damage combos. You can switch. Both people are playing off the exact same tiles of letters, which I think is also very important.
Yeah.
They said that they did it so that nobody could claim, oh, well, you had better letters. So all that stuff works. You can swap the boards. You can do. They
Hide other people's tiles.
It's amazing, and they're talking about not only over the air and online multiplayer, but cross-platform multiplayer, which would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is definitely a game to watch.
It's so much fun at PAX to see all these smaller titles that are tucked away, and you can find these gems, diamonds in the rough. One of the games we've always talked about as being a favorite from our childhood is Wing Commander.
Yep.
We played a game called Soul.
SOL.
I know, but
SOL.
Empire or something like that.
Something like that,
I think. You love Wing Commander.
The card. Yeah. So much fun. It really is a blast from the past, but I love. But it seems more taken by the Battlestar Galactica aesthetic than it is with the bringing back the Wing Commander aesthetic, which is great. I love that space is beautiful, and the ships. It just you start out in the dock and you you feel like you're inside a great epic space battle, and it just plays great. It just plays great. Those games, I'm sure if you went back and played them, they wouldn't play like our memory worked.
Exactly.
This plays like your memory works on Wing Commander and X-Wing and
they still
TIE
have
Fighter.
they're shooting for January, so they still have a lot of time to polish the game. I think the controls need a little bit of work, but it was very fun to play.
So much
It's great
fun.
that somebody's making that game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the genre that has the biggest presence here is probably free-to-play games. We saw a lot of free-to-play games.
Huge.
And the game with the biggest presence is Firefall.
Yes.
I know you were really excited about Firefall. What did you think of Firefall? Firefall is free-to-play.
Free to download. So this is the thing. A lot of the free-to-play games say free-to-play, but really what they mean is we're not going to charge you monthly fees. They're not. You actually need to buy the game.
Right.
With Firefall, they said not only is it free-to-play, but it is free to download. So this is just a sit down and play this game if you want game.
And
Which is
it's
unbelievable.
Looks like a AAA title.
It is
I mean,
a
like
AAA
it's not
title.
like
So
8-bit.
They've been in development for like 5 or 6 years. It's one of the lead designers for World of Warcraft that was originally at Blizzard, but they sort of peeled back the veil of this, what they've been doing for 5 or 6 years. Now, Dan and I really fell in love with Global Agenda and played the hell out of it. And one of the things, this is very Global Agenda, Team Fortress 2, that's it at its core. But the bottom line is if you can feel a much bigger AAA title MMO scope to the game, which is what I always felt was missing with the Global Agenda. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, there were a lot of free-to-play games here. One of which, a game that I didn't know about until I saw it here, and it looks really cool, is a game called Smite, which is sort of a Dota style, but third-person action.
Looks really cool.
Medieval. attack, progress, minions,
Yeah.
but it's like gods. You know, you play Zeus and there's minotaurs. Looked really cool. It's still early in development, but it's going to be completely free to play.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me how much that is taking off.
Yeah.
Also, the arcade titles. I mean, one of the best games that we probably got our hands on
was Renegade Ops.
Renegade Ops.
Renegade Ops.
Sega game from the designers of
right.
Just Cause 2.
That's right. And I was watching Alex play it, and I was like, that is a gorgeous looking game. It's a top-down game, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The way explosions
It's
look,
a
just like
vehicle
Just
action
Cause.
game.
It's a vehicle action game. The guy referenced Desert Strike, which is a game
Yeah.
I haven't thought about, which I believe is Data East as well, potentially.
Maybe.
I haven't thought about Desert Strike in the longest time.
Yeah.
It's almost like Ikari Warriors, but you're in a vehicle. It's
Yeah.
Ikari Warriors meets Super Sprint.
Also,
Yeah.
4-player online co-op and persistent upgradable characters. Basically, there's 4 different character types with different weapon types, so you can imagine being in the game with your buddy who plays the rocket launcher chick and your other buddy who's like the heavy tank machine gun guy. You guys are leveling up, and it's almost got a little bit of that sort of Fat Princess. What's the other one with the
Castle Crashers?
Castle Crashers kind of vibe, where it's like I'm leveling this character to then play with you cooperatively online.
Yeah.
Very excited about that.
And I just want to say that I was watching you play it. It looked fun, it looked gorgeous, but it took me putting my hands on it,
Yeah.
and I did not want to put the controller down. And so many of these awesome games that we've been playing, they're awesome. I'm like, I can't wait till this comes out, I'm going to play it. This is like, I don't want to leave it the second.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and you should check out some of the stuff that we covered because we covered some games that surprised the hell out of us, like WildStar, and you should see Dan talking about WildStar.
Yeah, I wanna-
Plus Old Republic. I mean, all these games that
I want to transition. We had a whole day of almost all MMOs. A lot of MMOs. You mentioned WildStar and
Guild
Star
Wars
Wars.
2 we got our hands on.
Well, Guild Wars 2 looked really, really good,
Yeah.
man. It has changed a lot since the last time I saw it. The art style is
Another
so...
free-to-play game too, as well, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure they've exactly explicitly come out with what the pay structure is going to be, but...
It wasn't. That was the whole thing with Guild Wars was it was free.
Well, there was no monthly fee, yeah.
Right. You gotta buy it, but
But we saw also the Secret World, which was
All right.
interesting.
yeah,
Secret
Daniel.
World was really, that's right, we haven't talked about it. Secret World,
This is why we call it a wrap-up because we saw it Friday. We haven't seen
Secret
it.
World, Jeff told me about Secret World because he knows how excited I've been about having a present day MMO. MMO set in the real world. It's not The Sims by any stretch. This is like, it's present day, but it's still completely fantastical. It's very Cthulhu kind of monsters. Kind of reminds me of Alan Wake in a sense, actually.
Well, Maine.
But what?
Northwest.
Maine, yeah, right. But it's still got helicopters. You're in a
Northeast.
bridge. You're regular people. The cutscenes. I keep saying, we saw the fully voice acted cutscenes in Old Republic. We all know about that. But the cutscenes in this game, where we get a quest. And by the way, we've only seen a sliver, so we don't know
we
how
only
it
saw
transpires
one
in the
thing.
whole
We
game.
don't know
That
if that's
is
how
true,
every quest
but
is
it
gonna
was
be.
a scene between a really funny scene between people. It was a cinematic scene, and then I went on my quest. It wasn't a person speaking to me and fully voice acted and well voice acted. It wasn't just person speaking. It was a scene, and I thought that was really cool. And I don't mean a cutscene. I mean like it was still in-game engine whatever scene.
Yeah.
So that was very exciting, and the world, the aesthetic is all really new and fresh and cool.
It's the graphics engine from Conan, which I always thought was one of the best looking MMOs when it came out, and now they've done even more refinements. It looks gorgeous. It looks
does
like
look
a
gorgeous.
beautiful single player game.
My only quibble that I had with the game was that the combat did not look fun. It did not look fun at all. It looked standard. I pull the trigger and I shoot 6 times. That's it. There was nothing special about the combat.
Well, it wasn't button
some of the
pressing,
other,
right? It was
He was using special abilities. They just all looked exactly the same. Especially when you see games like WildStar, where man, you felt overpowered from day one, and even Star Wars Old Republic, playing as the bounty hunter for the first couple levels that we got to touch base on, the special abilities that you got really felt powerful and classic Star Wars, shooting little missiles out of the guys and the Hadouken rocket punch. I mean, that stuff was satisfying. And then
It's interesting though that
WildStar,
they said in Secret World, they said no levels, no classes.
Yes.
It's all skill based, and it's all a wide kind of.
basically every time you get enough XP to turn over to the next quote unquote level, you just get a point to spend in any of the like 500 abilities.
Right. You can have all the abilities by the end of the game. You don't have to just pick a tree.
And then you choose what you take with you when you go out into the world.
I know you were taken with the Darkness 2.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
That game, has one of the most unique art styles I've ever seen in a video game.
All
It looks like
hand-painted.
hand-painted, right?
Yeah.
It makes it look like an animated movie. It looks like the what's that? Like Time Gal I had to take a CD, a full motion video, but at, like Dragon's Lair or
Dragon's
something.
Lair,
Like
yeah.
it looks like that, but it's fully play. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
really not quite like that, but it's awesome. It's
Basically,
really cool.
they attempted to do the cell shading, and then they saw it and said that doesn't work for our game. And they decided, just for fun, they would task the artists to go and actually hand paint every piece of asset graphic that they had,
Every texture.
and see what it looked like.
Yeah.
And it looked so amazing that they were like, "We apologize, artists, but you now need to do that for every single asset in this entire game."
Yeah.
And it's well worth it. That game does look amazing.
And we again covered these games individually, but I'll swoop back around and see. Is there anything you wanted to say about Star Wars: The Old Republic, or even you wanted to say about Star Wars: The Old Republic, because you got hands-on to play it? I did as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing the what was that?
Agent,
The Imperial
Imperial
Agent.
Agent.
Yeah, sniper class, really fun.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how much fun. That's even a class that I would not have thought I would enjoy. I thought I would want to play a magic-based
Jedi or something.
Jedi,
Yeah.
you know, to see cool effects. But I'll tell you what, that Imperial Agent was a lot of a cover system, and
Yeah.
I love
cool.
the one tiny thing that I didn't know they were doing, which is, you know, you hear such an emphasis on the conversation system and the quest system that if your party mate is somewhere else when you start the quest,
Yes.
you can be beamed in with the
They
the
get
Star Wars
hollowed in.
blue hollow thing,
That was unbelievable.
and so they can be present there for the conversation even though they're not physically in the same
Exactly,
location.
and that
It's cool.
really
Smart.
did help the feel of feeling like we were two people on this code journey together. Also, I love the fact that you would seamlessly walk in through a door that had a green, barrier, and as soon as you walked into it, that was your instance. And you and I were next to each other, walked right into the same, and I was seamlessly in an instance that you were not in,
Yeah.
and vice versa. No load times, no hiccups.
Yeah, but I doubt that'll be the case with actually big instances. It's just like
No,
a room.
the big instances are actually a spaceport, and you hop on a shuttle from that spaceport with your team to go to that location. So, but I think in your story instances, it's going to be seamless walking through and then dealing with what you need to deal with and all that stuff. It looks amazing.
I talked about Borderlands 2 already. Did you guys want to mention?
that I
absolutely
can't.
fantastic.
I
It
need that
looks
in me
so
right
much
now.
better than the original, just in terms of, as they joked in our demo of it, that the artist discovered the
Yeah.
color blue and
Yeah.
green, and that actually brings a lot to the
A
table,
lot.
a lot. Because as good as Rage looks,
Yeah.
it still isn't that. I mean, it is beautiful. Rage beautiful.
is stunningly
Rage is
beautiful.
stunning.
But it's still in that desolate area, and it's
And
it's,
though you break out of that in Rage, I
Yeah.
think the majority of the game
that's
is
true.
that desolate
That
area.
was a big shock. We heard in Rage that there's like Star Warsian space.
Yeah, you go to, like,
start
Agent
there.
Spaceport.
You start in space, which I didn't even realize.
That was my favorite part.
gorgeous,
Yeah.
I think it's Planet of the Apes, but yeah.
What is your guys' game of the show?
Oh, why would
We
you
didn't
ask me
see
that?
everything. We didn't see everything.
Every one of the games.
I mean, we
would
all
say-
loved WildStar. I know
think-
that.
I think for me, it might be WildStar.
Because it was the biggest surprise.
Because it was the biggest surprise, and it's the game that if somebody said you can pick one game at this convention to walk out this door right now, sit down and start playing, I think it would be WildStar.
What's yours? I don't even remember.
I think
Skyrim.
mine,
Yours has to
mine's
be Skyrim.
either Skyrim or Borderlands 2. Yeah. Although I'm really excited to get my hands on Torchlight 2 as well. It looks great.
I got really disappointed with Torchlight 2 because it
play
reminded
the
me.
controller.
It reminded me how bad. I think the real reason, because Torchlight was one of those games that I didn't really care for it when we first reviewed it. And then I picked up the Xbox Live Arcade version and fell in love with that game. And
all
I'm
about the
starting to
control.
realize now it's because that game plays better on the Xbox 360. It just
You're
plays
gonna
better.
show?
I mean, I'm just seeing the pink hat, and I'm like, we didn't.
But then you can't call the game
Quantum Conundrum?
Yeah.
The idea of a game.
It's the game
can't
that's
be
on
the
everyone's
game.
lips.
Yeah.
It's the
Conundrum.
sort of spiritual successor to Portal with all the interdimensional stuff, fluffy rooms and
Yeah.
slow
I
mean-
motion. It's still a long way off.
Come
but
on,
it's-
WildStar.
but to be
Log in,
honest-
let's play.
I mean, yeah, WildStar, Quantum Conundrum, Renegade Ops.
I'm
Oh,
surprised
Renegade
you
And
like
there's,
it that much.
there's a small game. Me too. That's why it's so
You didn't say
special. There's a game called Vessel.
Sorry, you didn't say. I'm surprised you didn't say.
I'm surprised you liked it that much.
Oh.
There's a small.
Me too.
There was an indie game called Vessel. That's a puzzle game with water liquid
Yeah.
mechanics, where you're a little guy running. The art style is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It also looks very painterly, and you're running around manipulating water. That actually is very
That's
cool
pretty
as well.
fun, yeah.
So.
Well,
Just
PAX
too
was
much
a
stuff.
great
Too much
time.
stuff.
Yeah, we'll have more this week. Keep coming back. Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Doing it.
Yeah.
So you've just seen our coverage of PAX, but we do want to thank our sponsor. Obviously, Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast, make it all possible for us to come out. They've got some amazing stuff that we got to see. The new card expansion for Magic the Gathering, Innistrad.
It has rad right in the title.
It has rad right in the title. Is bringing the Gothic milieu to Magic the Gathering, which I think is an unbelievably great idea. That's coming out in October. Also, we've been talking about this, but you got to get yourself down to any game store where you can play on Celebration Day, Magic Celebration Day, September 10th.
Yeah, they're bringing the
All
online
across.
players of the digital version in with the tabletop players,
Yes.
combining forces. It's the perfect opportunity to learn how to play the game.
And
with
it's the
cool
perfect
people.
opportunity to bring it off of the video game screens into the real world with the physical cards. That's September 10th. But also, speaking of the video game, Duels of the Planeswalker 2012, the expansion is coming out.
Yeah.
Unbelievably new stuff, new
They got
cards.
new challenges, new decks. There's going to be your ability to play as the arch enemy.
Against your friends, that is
So
unbelievable.
you can play 1 on 3. So get a friend, guys, because I'm coming for you.
Done and
Why are you
done.
putting me? I don't have friends.
Get one now. Anyway, we do want to thank Magic for, or Wizards of the Coast for sending us out here. We had a blast. Hopefully you've enjoyed all of our coverage.
Yeah, hopefully you saw all of our episodes over the weekend.
Yeah,
And
do check them out because we
We've
have
got more
info.
coming this week too. We've got some friends that we got their impressions of PAX coming up
Definitely.
later in the week. We got
We
our
also got
tournament,
our tournament on. You get to see these 3 morons try to be in a Magic tournament.
and we have
always
a
fun.
review of Deus Ex coming up this week too. So
Amazing.
stay tuned.
Watch everything.
Don't miss tomorrow for our review of Deus Ex Human Revolution.
So today is August 29th, and on this day, August 29th, and on this day in 1966, the last public Beatles concert was held in San Francisco's Candlestick Park.
Stick.
I
where
know
people are
my
getting
parents
shot
actually
now.
went to a Beatles concert, and the funny thing is, it may very well have been this concert in Candlestick Park. They still have the stubs.
Well, let's see.
the
You
whole
were
9 yards.
born in '67.
Was I?
I heard a
Dan,
great.
how old do you think I am?
I heard a great joke last
You're
night at a stand-up
89,
comedy
right?
show. A stand-up comedy show. So it's not my joke. I'm stealing it from a comic. But he said, I was on my computer with. Oh God, what's the song?
Already not.
Radio station program because of the P.
Pandora.
Pandora.
Yeah.
I was on Pandora and I typed in the Beatles and it said, now searching for songs that are inspired by or like the Beatles, and that's when my computer exploded.
Ah, that's funny.
Because all of them are.
Yes.
Thanks, Beatles.
And thank you at David Cusack for sending that in.